Sanctions 50 identifies entities across the world that are subject to US, EU, and UK sanctions because of majority ownership by a sanctioned party. These are some of the clearest cut cases of regulatory risk you can find, since these entities are legally blocked, even though they don't appear on sanctions lists themselves. We get asked for this all the time. For this module, we define majority ownership according to the nuances of each jurisdiction. I'll head off everyone who's going to ask me about that in a moment. So right now, that means 50% or more for US sanctions and more than 50% for EU and UK. We have the ability to adapt quickly should the regulations change in the future. The sanctions control module similarly keys off US, EU, and UK sanctions regimes, but it's going to identify entities across the world that are controlled directly or indirectly by sanctioned parties. Control, one of those terms that can mean just about anything, but here we are covering management and control positions, and minority ownership going to be 25 to 50%. We're keying off current FATF guidelines here for that. Again, in the written documentation, we have an abundance of detail about specifically what types of positions do we consider a management position, and so on. If you look over on the right, I've got a really quick example of sanctioned ownership. This is a screenshot. What you're looking at is a screenshot from Sayari graph, because again, it's much more interesting to look at a network chart than look at a screenshot of a data file. But this is exactly the data on these companies that you would see represented in Signal in a tabular data form, and more. So Time Shipping here is a, down at the bottom in the red box, is a Malta company, has majority sanctioned ownership through 2 degrees of separation. And, uncovering this required us to combine Malta and Cyprus corporate records.